I'm in Kolnes, Lithuania, beautiful Lithuania, and I'm going to listen to the Decemberists As It Ever Was, So It Will Be Again. I like the Decemberists. I have liked the Decemberists for a long time. The Hazards of Love being my favourite of their albums and one of my favourite all times, and this is not quite at those high heights, but not far away. Well worth your time, well worth a listen. Little bit over long maybe, but hell of a journey that I'm just about to go on. Track 1, Burial Grounds. I remember the first time I heard it, I just thought, good, no surprises. With the Decemberists, I don't want surprises. I don't want a hip-hop vision or anything new happening. I want the Decemberists to sound like the Decemberists, and they do, thankfully. It's a nicer end of what they do, with a sort of dreamy, jangly 60s pop feel. Mums and Papas or Beach Boys, you know, you wouldn't mind if it was we wouldn't be surprised if it was one of their sort of studio album tracks from way back. I mean, it's not that nice. The last lyric, for example, is contract malaria, meet at the burial grounds. I mean, wonderful. Welcome back, Decemberists. I have missed you. And when the trumpet comes in, oh, I am a sucker for a bit of trumpet. Track 2, oh no, wonderful storytelling that only they seem to be able to do in that sort of dark way. Love the percussion on this. Strangely reminded me of, I can't remember what the song's called, by the Mavericks. It's that kind of thing. And in a better music world, this actually could be a big hit like that, although that was 30 years ago or whatever. Yeah, I'm so on it. I'm me. I'm up with the times. You can tell when a band just get on and they play well together and they understand what each other does and what makes it sound better. And this is a great example of why bands should just stick together and stick with it. It doesn't matter how much you sell. If you enjoy what you do, stick with it. Glorious doesn't even cut it. It's better than Glorious. Track 3, The Reapers. Wistful is a word that came to my mind with the Decemberists, but I wanted to double make sure. In the dictionary definition is having or showing a feeling of vague or regretful longing. I think that sums up their music quite well. Wistful. Well done me for coming up with that. And that track is very classic them, maybe a little bit too classic them. It's sort of like a best of the Decemberists in one track, but you know, it's if you're going to have a best of in one track, it make it the Decemberists. Lovely flute solo. Sometimes I do think too much, but yeah, Wistful. Good word, that. Then a couple of tracks with some lovely slide guitar. Track 4, Long White Veil. I love it when you can say a title of a song and you just hear the tune. Long White Veil. Just, they can write a hook. They can write a hit. If they put their mind to writing for, I don't know, whoever the big pop Charlie XCX, you know, they could do it, I reckon. They genuinely could do it. And then track 5, William Fitzgerald, more acoustic gloriness. I just want to be sitting around a campfire listening to that. Just absolute beauty. What a great album this is. Track 6, Don't Go to the Woods. Is there a more folk opening line than Don't Go to the Woods Tonight? Because we all know that if somebody says that, we are going to the woods tonight, it's not going to be a happy ending. Something bad's going to happen. But if somebody says don't go to the woods, you're going to the woods because you need to know what happens, just like you need to know what happens in this song. And although you might be disappointed if you're murdered or whatever in the woods, you won't be disappointed with this song or this album. Just cracker after cracker, and definitely an album of the month for me. And the wonderfulness just keeps coming. Track 7, The Black Mariah is pronounced Maria, it's spell. And 8, All I Want Is You. It just, I said it before, but when you say the titles, the song comes straight to your head. The writing on this album is just immense, but it always is with the Decemberists. I mean, The Hazards of Love is my favourite album. That has got everything. I mean, it's dark and dirty. This is a happier album, but it's still not that happy, and the Decemberists are never going to be that happy, but what they are always going to be is engaging and wonderful and engrossing, and I adore them, I think it's fair to say. Track 9, Born in the Morning, rocking out on this one. I mean, it's even some electronic loopy noises going on in the background. It's sort of as punk rock as they ever get, and it sounds great. Turn those guitars up to 11 and you have a punk classic, or an avant-garde rock classic anyway. And then track 10, American Made Me. I think they're Canadian. I really should do more research, but to me it's all about the music, not really where they're from. And it's sort of like a glam rock stomper in a folk styley. The piano were even elements of madness, and I just love it. You know, you could even dance to that record. There isn't many you can dance through from the Decemberists, but that one, I'm going to give it a bloody good go. Track 11, Tell Me What's On Your Mind. Remind me of the Eels, strangely. Not really what they sound like, but production-wise. I said at the beginning there was no surprises in this album, but I think I was being harsh on it. There isn't at the beginning, but as you go through, there's songs like this that don't really sound like classic Decemberists, and that's a good thing. It's got a sort of carnival feel, and it's always the melody that wins with these guys. And track 12, Never Satisfied, probably a low point for me, actually. It's the second from last track, a classic second from the last track. I very often don't like the second from last track for some reason. It is a long album, and maybe this, for the first time, it feels like it's dragging a little bit. If it was track 2, I'd probably adore it. 13th and final track, Joan in the Garden, is a long one at 19 minutes. I always say you can do what you like with the last track, but actually I'm not a big fan of this song. It's good, but it sort of falls between two camps for me. I don't really understand why it's so long. If you're going to do it, you know, 43 minutes like a Richard Dawson classic or the Fishmans, you know, 42 minutes epics. If they would have pushed it out that much further, I think we could have had something here, maybe as a separate album. But I think at the end of the album, when I'm pretty exhausted by all the goodness that's come before, it just feels like it goes out with a little bit of a whimper. Beautiful, beautiful, don't get me wrong, but just a little bit much at the end of a long album. Track 13, Joan in the Garden Part 2. That said, the last 3 minutes of that 19-minute epic are well worth the wait. That prog rock bit at the end with the keyboards and everything is a great way to finish an album. Maybe I was being a little bit harsh, but that last 3 minutes, the first 16 minutes, nah, the last 3 minutes, bang. So my overall review of the Decemberists As It Ever Was, So It Will Be Again, is that it is everything that you would wish for from a Decemberists album. Been a fan for a long time. It's top 3 album from them, definitely. A little bit overlong in places, but it's the melodies, the songwriting, the voice, the band. I don't care if you think you like folk or not, and you do deep down, even if you don't think you do. Give this a listen. Give it your time, give it your space, give it your ears, give it your mind, give it your soul, and you will not come out disappointed. 9 out of 10.